Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44. So, I want to get on here and kind of talk about something that I can't shake. I can't shake the notion that there's something going on. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and far be it from me to tell you guys that I am aware of specifics and different stories, or have sources, or anything like that, or have anything other than my opinion to share with you at this moment. But I've been paying attention to a lot of different stuff that's floating around the internet. And some of the things that are occurring right now, some of the things that I'm paying attention to that are occurring in the black community and in the streets right now, as far as like the stuff that's being promoted on the internet, things that we are paying attention to that seem to be high profile. A lot of this stuff has weird coincidences and weird numerology attached to it. Uh, it's just weird stuff happening right now, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. Uh, from Chicago to LA to Atlanta, over the last 3 days, there have been stories in all these different places that just all have reason to question what's going on. And that's really what it comes down to me, man. That's what it comes down to. You got, without talking too much, because I don't know these people, I don't want to get involved in something, you know what I mean? I'm an independent person. So without talking about stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about, in Chicago, there was a guy who was coming out of a jail cell, got shot 64 times. Down the street from the jail, and it wasn't even down the street, he was like right next to it. You know, jails are huge. So he was down the street from where he was released, and someone pulled up and did that. This happened in Chicago. 64 is a very interesting number as it pertains to certain stuff that goes on over there, and some of the stuff that's happening in the streets. That's a very significant number, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. So that's one thing to pay attention to. Seemingly no one heard anything, by the way. It's outside of a jail cell. Probably over 7,000 people inside of that place. 64 shots ring out. Obviously, it's automatic weaponry. And nobody hears nothing. It's like 8 o'clock at night. Excuse me? And that's one thing. And you got another situation over here. This shit happened like 10 minutes around from the house. This young man, is associated with somebody who had defaced Nipsey Hussle's mural about a month ago. While the dude who actually is name is on the mural, who took credit for the defacing, while he's on live, he and his friend are having a conversation about what would you do if you didn't have a gun on you. It's literally what they're saying. This is the conversation they're having. And all of a sudden, someone walks up and shoots this guy on live in the middle of that conversation while he's waiting for homie to answer that question. Like, what would you imagine? Like, it's if I'm saying to you guys, what would you do if someone walked up to you and you're in the middle of this conflict and you don't have no gun? What would you do? And before you get a chance to even answer the question, as you're answering the question, someone walks up to me and shoots me up. That's exactly what happened there. And the person who's alive to view it is the person who defaced the mural. The person who he was watching, who had to view this, yeah, that was the guy. Now, mind you, just to flip back to the 64 story in Chicago, they left the people around this individual alive. Very specific type stuff. When you shoot somebody 64 times and they have other people with them, and you only shoot one of them in the leg and the other person you don't shoot at all, but you managed to hit the person you intended to hit 64 times, you trying to tell me that wasn't someone who had done that a lot, or somebody who was trained to do that, or somebody who was very, 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 very gifted at that art, unfortunately speaking. Professional, maybe. Trained highly, possibly. The coincidence of this live situation, and when they're talking, all that's going on right there, and all of a sudden this kid gets hit 12 times. And I look over and then I'm seeing the situation in Atlanta. Weird stuff involving rapper Young Dirk's crib. They're calling him a victim, even though they're raiding his mansion, and there's no real information coming out, right? But they're calling him a victim. But that's all they're saying. But apparently they're raiding his property. No other information left out. Why is that significant and weird? Because at the same time, one of his very best homies, who just passed away, King Von, they released information on him today, saying that he had been listed as someone who had murdered someone. And, it was one of those situations where if you follow the culture, you kind of already knew that. But they're officially releasing that information, telling you that he had committed a murder. And at the same time, they're raiding Dirk's crib. At the same time, this dude's getting hit with 64 shots. At the same time, over here, you got this crazy situation with the 12 shots and the kid on live and all that Nipsey stuff. It's too much, man. It's too much to say, yo, wait a minute. What's really happening here? All I'm saying to y'all is, all of this crap happened in a matter of 20, maybe 48 hours, maybe 3 days. All this happened at once. Then I'm looking at Kwame Brown and Hassan. He looked like he's losing it. Black people in conflict. Black people in conflict. Black people in conflict. Black people in conflict. All kinds of weird stuff happening. Weird. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just people. It's summertime. First summer we've had in 2 summers, basically, because nobody was outside last year with the pandemic. Maybe that's a product of some of the weirdness that we're seeing right now. And then I look over and I say, well, not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they mention that Mayor Lightfoot was asking for martial law? She talking to Biden about martial law, bringing martial law to Chicago. And after that ball dropped, then all of this started to happen consecutively. All of that started to just trickle down. Like right after that news dropped, and it was like a domino effect of all of these different things that took place. Maybe it's nothing. But I'll tell you this. All of those situations, the more I pay attention to what people are saying about those situations, the more I pay attention to the fact that all of us are paying attention to all of those situations, the more I realize that we are paying attention to all these situations. Our attention is here on all of this. Instead of what? Exactly. Why are black people forced to look at all of this right now when those who truly are paying attention know that there's a financial crisis on the horizon? A real one, a big one, massive one. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like I said, I don't pretend to know too much. I don't read a whole lot. I'm just a guy sitting in this house watching stuff happen on his phone and putting 2 and 2 together and say, we haven't had a week like this in a very long time. Or a few days, weekend, I guess you can say, in a very long time. It's weird, man. This wasn't the 4th of July weekend. This is the weekend after that. Strange. Very strange. So I don't know. Rest in peace and condolences to all families who are mourning anyone who was lost in any of these circumstances that I'm mentioning. There's a lot of people who lost their lives in these various conversations. It ain't nothing pretty about any of it. It ain't nothing cool about any of it. And I'd hate to think that this is just all of it is connected in any way or a byproduct of somebody trying to get us to pay attention to something other than what it is we need to be focused on. I hope everyone is prepared for what it is that I just mentioned. I'm not one to tell people to panic about anything, but I'm telling y'all, I've been paying attention to this AMC thing a lot. And what's going on in the financial market right now is something that we all need to be looking into. We need to know what's going on. We need to be prepared. We need to protect ourselves from what I think could be a problem going down the pipeline. And I don't think that a lot of financial media or social media is going to want you to pay attention to it, because it doesn't help them to concern you with that. When they want you to be afraid about something, they'll let you know. When it's time to panic, as according to their plan, they'll let you know. But what I know is, it's not time to panic, but it is time to prepare. And for whatever that means to you, I would just say start reading and start looking into stuff if you're not already into it. Don't take my word for it. I'm just telling you that there's something to look into right now. That's all I can give you. And as far as all that other stuff that I just said, I felt in my heart it was necessary to come to you guys and just say, I'm sensing a distraction here. It's massive. And it's pointing us, black people, in the direction of conflict amongst ourselves when I know there's other stuff going on out there. And I'm willing to bet that if we're distracted, if you look at other communities, I'm willing to bet that we can see pockets and clusters of moments where they've been distracted as well by a bunch of stuff that just seem weird in clusters of days. I would like to see if that is the case in other communities, because it seems like black people are being pointed towards something right now. Just how I look at the world, man. I don't know. I could be off, but yeah, that's BDF 44 for you. Thank you guys for watching. Out.